for like, oh.
It's on. Hello, we are live after SmackDown Live. I'm Tonya Rodgers. Drew M. Swift. And like we had a whole show planned for you guys. We prepared. We're professionals. Goddamn professionals, might I add. But we have been just completely thrown for a loop. If you have not watched Talking Smack, after you hear us talk about this show and everything the week that was, please go and watch at least the last 10 minutes of Talking Smack, because there is an interaction between SmackDown General Manager Daniel Bryan and The Miz that is better than any fucking thing the WWE has done in years. And this is not hyperbole. This is the God's honest truth. The Miz came out. He was not a guest. He just showed up after the other guests that were already scheduled had left. And he was making a gripe about how, as the Intercontinental Champion, he was not getting highlighted on the show at all tonight. And Daniel Bryan just started ripping into him, calling him a coward, and saying that he represents the WWE soft style. He basically said the Miz, everything, how the Miz wrestles is everything he hates about wrestling. And then the Miz went Bryan saying, calling him a quitter, saying if he really loved the fans, he would get back in the ring and wrestle. It was so bad. He made Daniel Bryan walk off. The Miz was, it was the best fucking thing. Like I'm in awe. I'm in shock, and like everything that WWE has given us this year pales in comparison to like what I just saw. Oh my God! This has to be an angle. Like they're not just doing this for nothing, right?
Here's the question. So Daniel Bryan, there's some speculation in the Daily. What if he was secretly cleared? What if Daniel Bryan happened to come back? What if Daniel Bryan comes back, say beats the Miz, and then after Shane McMahon gets murdered by Brock Lesnar, what if Daniel Bryan goes and beats Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania?
Oh my!
We need this to happen so badly now. Have your brain heal, please, Daniel. Oh my God, that would be the best thing of all time. Oh.
It makes sense because the Miz is one of the safest workers, as long as you don't do like suicide dives, and even in that, he's gotten a little bit better.
Yeah.
Oh, recently on being a base and catching people for those things. But like, oh my freaking word! I'm like, my hand is shaking. I was sitting there with my mouth open. I was like, is this really happening? What am I watching? Oh my goodness!
It was 100% straight fire, is what it was. There's no doubt. The whole show was great. Like, even first of all, the Usos burying your boy. That was kind of funny. I'm not gonna lie. They got a chuckle out of me a little bit.
I got a feeling somebody ain't so crazy. Like, what Roman must act like he don't know them no more.
Yeah, right.
Because they are burying his ass left and right. Ain't
Left and right. We got straight shooters on SmackDown and on SmackDown Live and Talking Smack. We got Booker T apparently on the pre-show was saying his favorite thing about SummerSlam was when it ended.
Oh yeah,
holy Sugar T, holy shit, man, he crushed it. We got Daniel Bryan talking shit. We got fucking Carmella straight up ganking.
Oh my God,
Nikki Bella.
I was like, wait a minute, what's going on? They're getting Carmella right, and it's not gonna take for fucking ever.
right?
Are you
They
kidding?
they turned into the skid? Like, holy shit.
Right. What's going? You know what? And okay, another thing, because the Universal title is ugly.
Yeah.
Fucking ugly. Looks
Fugly.
like a toy.
It is
It's
fugly.
too much. It's too much red.
No, you know what? You know what it looks like? It looks like to me, as soon as I saw it the first time, there's a donut shop in Brooklyn called Dough, and it looks like their hibiscus donut. I swear to God, it's like a donut with like drenched in like red like frosting with like a little bit of like black like stringiness on top. And I was like, as soon as I saw the title, I was like, that looks like this fucking awesome ass donut. I'm gonna put it in the thread, folks. Just because it literally looked like this donut. I loved it.
And the crowd in Brooklyn rightfully buried it.
Rightfully so.
Now I agree with people that they may have lingered on it, focus on the actual match. But the build up for that match wasn't even about the championship. It was about, can Seth Rollins see Finn Balor cosplay as the Demon? He really wanted to see that paint up close and personal. That's what but it's like Raw's kind of being buried by management, because they gave you this fugly belt for the Universal title, and both of the titles, the new titles for SmackDown, are aesthetically pleasing to the eye. They look like championships. There's nothing, I mean, you could say, oh, well, it's not really original, but the SmackDown tag team belts look better than the freaking WWE tag team belt.
Yeah.
So it's like, how long is it going to be if this trend continues with Raw and SmackDown with the quality? How long is it going to be before we say, okay, both shows have been around. SmackDown is clearly the better show. It is clearly getting the better writing and better focus. And Raw is just like,
Raw is just well, here's the difference. We all know the difference. Let's come out and openly admit what the difference is here. SmackDown is getting a creative team to do its job that it was hired to do, and they're doing it well, and the talent is motivated. They're busting their ass because they're like, we're gonna make our shit better. And they're doing so. Versus Monday Night Raw is still run by a 70-year-old crazed man who has no idea what professional wrestling needs or wants in 2016. This is the difference. Vince McMahon is terrible at running a wrestling show in 2016. Look at last night, which I was at.
Do you think he's just too tired?
He's too tired, especially tonight.
Worry about SmackDown?
He had a long-ass weekend. Look at how good SmackDown is tonight. He's too tired to even fucking look at the drafts they sent him. I'm certain. He was just like, do whatever you want. And Ryan Ward, fucking based Ryan Ward, killing it. My God. SmackDown, folks.
So do you want to go quickly over SummerSlam and Raw before we head into the show?
Let's go over those wrestling shit that broke me.
Okay, so SummerSlam. Sasha lost the title to Charlotte.
I actually like that match more than their TV match, to be fair.
It was like the hatred that those two have between each other is just palpable. You could feel it. You could almost taste it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was a good match. So I really wasn't. And considering the circumstances, Sasha's supposed to be injured. They want to rest her. I can understand they wanted to give her a title reign before they took her off TV again.
Yeah.
And then on Raw, here comes Bayley, and that's a whole another bag of worms you got to worry about, because there's just not anybody for her to have
a feud with,
story with.
Yeah.
Yeah. Except for Charlotte. So if she wins the title at their next pay-per-view, and then the rematch, and then I guess Sasha comes back into the picture, and it's just gonna be on Raw pretty much. When Sasha comes back, it's gonna be Sasha, Bayley, and Charlotte.
Yeah, 3-person division. Like, why hasn't Summer Rae gotten any TV time? Literally everybody in the SmackDown women's division is getting substantial TV time, And like you literally have, and Nia Jax did. Maybe Nia Jax got popped or something for a wellness suspension, but she didn't get a vignette or a squash.
It was
On Raw
like
last
Nia
night.
Jax wasn't even.
She wasn't even there, and Summer Rae has never been there. Yeah. Summer Rae, who has extensive history, by the way, with literally basically everybody in that division other than Nia Jax.
Yep.
You know, so again, it's Vince. Vince sees like, all right, these are my big, 3 or whatever, but doesn't actually provide them with stories or character work, or nuance or depth.
The reason why people fell in love with those women wasn't because it wasn't just because they can wrestle like the men and do high spots. It's because there were motivations and reasons to get behind these people, whether they were heels or faces. They had some strong character work down there in NXT that they're just not getting on the main roster. So that's the worry for Bayley, that if you present her how she is, because I'm going to admit, I was all into Sasha, Charlotte, and Becky, and everybody's like, oh, well, Bayley's the greatest. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. It took me a while. So I can understand when some people say, I just don't like Bayley. I don't get it. Because I didn't get it at first. And I think that's their character sometimes. With some people, she's going to have to grow on them. And I'm worried that she's not going to get, the attention that she needs for those people to grow on her. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. No, I totally understand what you're saying. I'm basically one of the biggest Bayley marks around right now these days. But when I first started getting back into wrestling and started watching NXT, I was Sasha all the way. I didn't care at all about Bayley. I was like, who is this little, dork loser? I literally did not like her. I swear to God, this is a true story, folks. I did not like Bayley. I thought she was so average and uninteresting. But you watch her grow and you get invested in her slowly by slowly. And exactly what you're saying is they need to get people to invest other than the people that are already invested. And we don't, and you and I both agree that on Raw, that's not going to happen. It's just going to be like, women's revolution, women's evolution, hashtag branding, Stephanie McMahon is great. Look at us. We're putting women on big matches on pay-per-views. Look at them tear down the house of pay-per-views, but without any story or logic or backing behind it. That's not how it worked in NXT at all. Like it was, the big matches in NXT, the Charlotte Sasha, the Fatal 4-Way, Sasha Becky, and Bayley's 2 matches with Sasha, and then her reign. It wasn't just like big matches. It was everything that led up to them made the matches big. You can't just have a kick-ass match and people will be like, oh, this is awesome. That'll be like a fucking Seth Rollins, Finn Balor. People will pop, ooh, this is a crazy fun match or whatever. And then they'll go back to not caring at all and actually just random chanting, That's the problem, Seth. It's not that the crowd is shitty. It's that you're a shitty heel worker. Oh, and you keep injuring your opponents.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say, because I never really mentioned the titles of my shows and why I titled them, but I know it wasn't that he said you really disappointed me. It was you really let me down. But, paraphrasing. But I titled it that because I just think there's a level, it's kind of unprofessional to do that. And I know other people have called out crowds as well. And like when they had the PCB Bellas thing, everybody was upset. And I was like, that's kind of unprofessional. Have your poker face. I'm not going to mention. It's a certain person that gets shitted. Like if every time my favorite wrestler got shitted on, he wouldn't stay off Twitter. He'd be on Twitter. And I'm really disappointed in you guys saying that I can't wrestle. He just goes, know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
At a certain point, you got to stop blaming the fans. And you have to look. It's like I can understand what people are saying. They're taking over. It's distracting, but WWE rewarded that. And when you start rewarding it and paying attention, more people are going to be like, well, we're going to do it too because we want to be like this crowd and this crowd. And now people, it's like a certain group of people. If the crowd isn't into it, they don't care. And I understand a hot crowd makes a good match better and a shitty match seem good. But at the same time, you have to understand the situations surrounding it. And because I was surprised, I predicted on Cageside Speaks this match that I didn't care about, Balor and Rollins. I predicted that the crowd was going to be super duper hype and it was going, they were going to be into it. So when they would not stop chanting and singing and whatever and booing the belt, I was kind of like, God, respect the match a little bit. And I'm like shocked because I don't really care about either performer, but I was like, damn, y'all kind of being rough on him. So I understand what Seth is saying, but as the face, like I don't think John Cena would have ever made that tweet. Or if he would have made it, he would have made it in a way where it didn't seem like he was pouting and whining because, like I said in the thread about it, now you know how Roman feels, Seth. It's just like this in 2016, you're going to have to deal unless you're like fucking AJ Styles or John Cena. And even John, John knows. Like he comes out on SummerSlam. Did you see him? They were saying John Cena, and he was dancing to it. He was like, "Yeah, that's my
smiling.
Jam." Yeah, he was like, "That's my jam." John Cena, so he was like, "Yeah, that's it." Oh my God. Okay, let's talk about Cena Styles at SummerSlam.
Ooh, that was lit.
Whoa. Fucking whoa. It should have went on last.
Yeah, that was the main event.
Last.
For sure.
It was. And it went on, and it was 8 o'clock. No, not 8. I think after the first hour they went on.
It was like 9:10 or something.
I think it was like the first hour of the show. Like after the first hour, they were on at the top of the next hour. So there were like 3 more fucking hours to go after.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
And it was like after John Cena, like that was the moment of the night for me. John Cena first looking at AJ Styles like, what? Who the fuck is this person? What the fuck are you? Why won't you stay down? And then he loses, and then the look on his face, you can like, that's why John Cena is like the emotions he portrayed in that one little segment where he takes the armband off and leaves it. You knew exactly what he was feeling in that moment. You know what I'm saying? And it was like a moment of shock. And that's the fucking goddamn legend walking away. That's one of the biggest rubs ever. Like all the years of LOL Cena wins and burials and all, it was fucking worth it. If like AJ Styles gets this rub and like takes the fuck off, in hindsight, it was worth it. Oh, it was just the greatest thing. Okay, what else? Nikki Bella returned. I was like thinking it, and I was hoping and praying that it was her when she came out, and she did. And by the way, as Vidance pointed out, Nikki Bella got a better reception than Brock Lesnar and Randy Orton. And they were in the fucking main event. The woman, the diva, who was ruining women's wrestling, Brooklyn, got a better reception than the Beast. Okay, I loved everything about what she did in that match, but that match could have not been on the card, and I wouldn't have really cared. Like the crowd really cared about. I'll give Naomi her credit. When she got in and did her little hot sequence, she got the crowd into what she was doing. And I think they responded to Nikki, and that was about it.
I think they were into Becky too.
Yeah, they were into Becky. They did not shortchange Becky. They were into Becky.
Becky got a really nice reception tonight too. when they were
When
talking
they were
about
like the best woman, and they chanted
and it was
her
like
name.
Becky, and I was like, all right, okay,
That's promising.
yeah, that's good.
Yeah, that's very
good
promising.
It's good to see.
It is. That was great. What else about SummerSlam before we talk about the shitty ending? What else do you want to?
What else was on the show? Okay, so Jericho beat Enzo and Cass. That was fine. Whatever. I don't really care.
No.
Sasha, Charlotte, good match ending. You know what? I actually thanks. I'll say one word of thanks to Vince McMahon for making me $700 for being so unbelievably obvious in what was about to happen. Predictable and like in the dumbest way possible, for making Sasha, lose at both of your biggest shows of the year. At least she got a title right now. Maybe she'll fucking retire. Who knows? But I won $700 off that match, so thanks, Vince. I haven't even yet called you the evil scion on this show yet, but we'll get there eventually.
I should have betted with you because
you should have.
There were 11 advertised matches, and then they tacked 2 on, which I feel like I would have got them to. I only got 2 matches wrong, and 1 match I got wrong didn't even fucking happen.
It didn't even happen.
So I only really got 1 match wrong. So Vince, thanks for being predictable.
Think of like the parlay you could have pulled off of that. You
my God, I would be rolling in money.
We need to start betting on pro wrestling more. This is a shoot. We need to start putting more money on pro wrestling.
I swear
it's fucking hilarious. What else is on SummerSlam?
Let's talk about
I don't even remember.
We can get into the WWE later because we're going to talk about the show. Let's go ahead and talk about the bullshit they pulled at the end of the show.
Oh, yeah.
Listen, with blood, I love strong style. But telling a trained MMA fighter to hit somebody in the fucking head to get blood instead of getting a razor blade and doing it is fucking idiotic. And by the way, Brock Lesnar looked like shit in that match. Let's call it spade a spade. He like shit.
He needs steroids.
He was sweating before the fucking bell rung.
He needs steroids. He could barely lift Orton on any of the Germans.
And people like, somebody was like, well, maybe that was payback. Maybe he hit him harder because Orton was sandbag. Orton wasn't sandbagging. He just couldn't fucking get him up.
Yeah.
It's fucking pathetic. This is the person they're seeking all this goddamn money into, giving all this fucking special treatment. Thank God for Chris Jericho. Shit.
Yeah, we never thought.
Seemingly the only person with balls company to say, look, this shit isn't right. This shit is not right whatsoever. And I'm going to say something about it. Like, fucking Jericho should headline next year's Hall of Fame. Straight up and down.
I never thought I would so quickly come around on Chris Jericho, but him standing up to Brock was fucking wonderful. And you know what? For anyone listening right now, I'm just going to go ahead and say, if you still pop and cheer and are excited to see Brock Lesnar and his awful crony Paul Heyman, you need to understand that those guys are hurting pro wrestling right now. They don't give a fuck about it either. About you. They don't care about wrestling. They don't care about anybody backstage. They only care about getting checks and how the fuck they look. And that is not what pro wrestling is about. And if you ever have talked shit about Hulk Hogan, a man who made wrestling fucking mainstream, you ever talk shit about Hulk Hogan, but you're a Brock Lesnar fan, reevaluate your wrestling priorities. Please. He's a fucking cancer. End of story. Yeah. Somebody was like, oh, you're just getting worked. That means you want to see him. No, that means if Brock Lesnar never showed up, ever again, wouldn't care, wouldn't ask, where's Brock? What's he do? I don't give a fuck. Go in the mountains, fuck your goddamn wife,
kill some innocent animals, but stay the fuck off my WWE screen.
You're not wrong. I mean, the guy, he doesn't give a shit. He doesn't give a shit at all. And like, if this was like the 1990s where the backroom, locker room culture was so fucking shitty and cancerous, it would make sense. But this is 2016, and it kind of seems like everybody in the locker room is kind of tight with each other and kind of like pulling for everybody, which is nice to see. They're friends, they're on the same page. And he's a fucking cancer.
Yeah.
He needs to go. I don't care. I don't care if he never puts anyone over. I just don't ever want to see the guy on my TV ever again. He's not entertaining. He's not entertaining. When's the last interesting match he had? The WrestleMania main event with Roman? Like, that's the last interesting match he's had. That was, 2 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
2 years? That was like 28 months ago or some shit? Like, the guy is not fun to see. He's just, if you want to see Brock Lesnar, well, I'm sorry, you can't see him in MMA now because he got popped for steroids. So, I don't know. Maybe you can go watch old MMA fights.
Wrestling look even worse because a lot of MMA fans, wrestling's fake and all they do is take steroids and then blah, blah, blah. And here he goes, fucking popping for steroids or estrogen blockers, whatever the fuck it was. Yeah, thanks. So, and he's like, all I do is train and kick ass and stick a needle in your fucking ass too. That's what you do that too. You left that out.
Yeah, and then everyone, and then because of Brock, who doesn't get tested, and WWE doesn't care that he actually got popped for steroids from another company, everyone else starts getting tested more, and now we got all these rumors about more potential suspensions coming out because everyone else is getting looked at more closely because of that fucker. I'm done with him. I'm so over him. I fucking, you know what? What's the next Raw pay-per-view? Clash of Champions? Let's put the belt on Roman, on the Universal title on Roman, and have Brock challenge him and have Roman go over and then just rip his contract up. Just pay it out and have him never show up again. I don't care.
Okay, well, see, you like that, but I don't want that fucking ugly ass title anywhere near Roman. And I don't want Brock anywhere near Roman. Although Roman gave him this green ass vanilla, as somebody called him, giant vanilla midget.
Giant vanilla midget.
Gave
that was
Brock
golden.
Lesnar. Yeah, it was. Gave Brock one of the best fucking matches in his career. I don't want him nowhere near him again. I'm sorry. Okay, let's get into SmackDown. Okay, the show started. AJ Styles in the locker room bragging.
Oh, glorious!
Dolph Ziggler has his head all down. You know, he's disappointed. He missed his shot. Styles starts fucking with him. Ziggler goes right at him. And they're brawling. And so they open up with the ceremony. You know, they have all the competitors for the women's division, tag team division, all out there, telling them, you know, there's going to be a 6-pack challenge at Backlash for the women's title. And I understand why it's not a tournament because there's only 6 of them. Kind of hard to do a tournament with 6 people. But there's a tournament for the tag team titles. Like, you know, there's enough. Heath Slater, who was golden all night, he comes out and he's like, he worms his way into another situation. And they're like, okay, we'll give you another shot. But by the end of the night, you have to find a tag team partner. And the only way you will earn a SmackDown contract is if you go through this tournament with your partner and you have to win the titles. So, like, he's like, I bet you Heath was back there with the writers pitching this. He's like, okay, so the free agent thing is kind of run its course. I know we're about to have a tag team tournament. We may need another team. How about Rhino's not doing anything, and Rhino's a fucking great tag team partner to have. Mm-hmm. And he's funny. They showed that they already have chemistry with, you know, their interaction a few weeks ago. Like that angle when he was talking to Arn Anderson, and Arn was like, "Hey, wait a minute, I want your first choice. Oh, you done fucked up. Like Arn Anderson's old ass was actually thinking about it. He's like, wait, I want first? Nah, son. I ain't got time for that. No time. It was wonderful. Like the opening segment, it had so much stuff in it. But unlike the opening segments of Raw, where there's a whole bunch of shit in it, it flowed. Mm-hmm. It made sense. Because after all of that happened, AJ Styles comes out, and AJ Styles looking at Heath, and he was like, "No, I'm not gonna be your partner. Move on." It was funny.
Yeah, I don't even. Here's the thing. Heath didn't even say anything to him. He just like walked up to him, and he's just like, "No, not gonna be a tag team." AJ Styles crushed this show. He was on the show like four or five separate times. He absolutely killed every.
But it didn't seem like too much, though.
Not at all. Not at all.
It was. But, okay, here's my criticisms about the criticisms of the show. I'll get that out the way. I didn't like the Becky and Alexa Bliss match. I thought it was a little sloppy. Thought there was some mistakes. Crowd was into it. I can understand that, but like you can't keep beating Alexa Bliss if you want her to mean anything in a division. You can't. So, and then there was no need for Naomi and Natalya could have set off the show. Have to be on. I don't think they added anything to commentary. They were more talking about themselves than talking about the competitors in the ring. Because I like when Dean Ambrose is on commentary. He's going to big up his opponents and big up the action in the ring. It was like those ladies. I don't even know. They're not good at commentary.
Yeah, I think the company as a whole needs to be more careful about what wrestlers they put on commentary. Like, I understand that you're trying to give people time on the show, but very few people in the company are actually good on commentary. It's a skill set that it's totally, even if you're like a good promo, it's a totally different skill set. And if you're not trained to do it or like a total natural at it, then you're just not going to be very good and you're not going to add a whole lot. So yeah, I would have liked to see like maybe Naomi and Natty get like some 90-second backstage thing instead or something like that if you wanted them on the show. But yeah, I actually liked that match, the Alexa Becky match. I thought Becky's offense was a lot tighter than usual. She cut down a little bit on her 100% straight fire thing. She just kind of said straight fire, which I was like, all right, well, if you're going to keep it, at least shorten it so it's not like 25 seconds long. I thought Becky's ways of looking for the arm bar, going for that through different methods was pretty good and it makes Becky seem like a smart wrestler because she's like, all right, I know I got this killer submission finisher. All I need to do is lock it on and I win. So I'm going to figure out as many ways as possible as I can to get it on, get it locked in. So I thought it was good. I think Alexa was slightly sloppy, but I'll also say that she recovered from her little sloppiness.
Yeah,
like on the sunset flip, the sunset flip powerbomb she had, she like when she first jumped on the rope, she kind of slipped a little bit for a second, and I was like, oh, but she like immediately recovered, and I was like, that's a good sign. So I was okay with it.
It's just growing pains, baby steps.
Right, exactly, for sure.
There were 2 matches in the tournament which they have not revealed brackets because I think if they actually put brackets up there, Vince is going to realize that there's a tournament going on.
He's gonna step in.
He's going to bury it. Yeah. But the Usos faced the Ascension, which was like a glorified squash match. And American Alpha faced Breezango, which wasn't a squash match, and I like that. Some people are like, they should be doing squash matches, but I think American Alpha, as they wrestle, the more they wrestle, and they have a lot of personality when they wrestle, that will get them over better than just having squash matches because you can see there's a lot more to this team. Like, and you see that they're legit. I think the Usos and American Alpha are going to be the final 2 teams with the Usos turning heel. Mm-hmm. And They might go over American Alpha. That's
I
probably
could-
gonna piss some people off.
I could see
They
that.
might go over them.
I think there was some people in the Daily who were saying that Alpha and Usos might meet in the semis, and Alpha win, and then in the finals, Usos turn heel and cause Alpha to lose the titles, maybe to Slater and Rhino.
Oh my God, that's even better because then Slater.
Yeah, he gets a contract.
He gets a contract.
Especially because Rhino's whole thing where it's like, I bet a tag team champion could make payments on an above ground pool. I was just like, holy shit, they're referencing continuity on the above ground pool.
Right.
I was just like,
right.
Everything about this show was just well written, well structured. It flowed.
Randy Orton and Bray.
Wrestling. Yeah. Randy
Orton and Bray. That was a nice little something to eat on. They're gonna be. And I think Randy's gonna put Bray over. I hope so, cause like Randy can afford it. You know what I'm saying? He's still fucking Randy Orton if he loses to Bray Wyatt or not. But Bray Wyatt needs a win. He needed a win like last year, so bad. He needs it. Like, and Randy can afford it. And it's an interesting mix-up of styles. I like that. Let me tell you what made me laugh. Those little things with Kurt Hawkins, because I wrote them down. Kurt Hawkins, he once broke a promise in half. Death had a near Kurt Hawkins experience. That made me bust. And then Winter is worried Kurt Hawkins is coming.
Yeah.
I was like, it's working because I want to see this. I want to see what Kurt Hawkins, because I don't remember him that much, and you don't remember. You weren't watching.
I don't remember him at all. Yeah.
I like it. It's working. It's like setting the groundwork. So either these little facts about him are gonna shine through and prove to be real, or he's gonna be exposed as a total fraud. And either way, I want to see that. And that you book things for what people want to see instead of things that people are dreading. You know what I'm saying? Oh my God, I know what's gonna happen. So Dolph Ziggler would not stop with AJ Styles, and AJ Styles came out to brag about beating up John Cena. Ziggler came out, and Daniel Bryan was like, enough. Look, Dolph, I think you proved that you deserve another shot. So look, in AJ Styles, what you did was very impressive because, Daniel Bryan knows exactly how hard it is to beat John Cena clean. So he's like, yes, I do think you deserve to be number one contender. So he basically said AJ Styles is number one contender, but if Dolph Ziggler beats him, he'll get added to the match. Well, and I hope, I'm guessing, I'm pretty damn sure that Dolph, because he lost, it was a well put together main event. He lost, AJ Styles won, so Styles is facing Dean Ambrose, which my only thing is I think he added to commentary, but I don't think SmackDown would have really missed anything if he wasn't there. Yeah. And I think that's a problem. If you're your WWE champion and you could have not been on the show, that's an issue.
Yeah, well, the question is, how much longer is he going to be WWE champion? Because September 11th in Richmond, Virginia at Backlash, I think AJ Styles is gonna become WWE champion.
I do too.
And honestly, it's the right call. Sorry, Dean fans, but AJ Styles is crushing it in every facet right now. He looks the best in the company.
Yep. Maybe
the world. I don't know who else you would put over him in that spot. Well, I mean, unless you're like Rev or Vidance, you want to say Chris Hero is the best or something, but. Come on, guys! Nobody watches that shit.
Nobody knows who Chris Hero is.
Chris Hero.
Is he even a wrestler? Cut it out. Isn't he like Shimmer?
That's a Shimmer. That's the Shimmer. Is he in Shimmer? I bet he is.
Yeah, I bet he does wrestle for Shimmer. Ooh, Chris Hero, that sounds like a made-up name. Cut it out.
Yeah, AJ Styles was wonderful tonight. His whole thing wearing John Cena's wristband, which is those are wristbands, right? John Cena's things, right?
It's an armband. John Cena wears it up on his arm.
Okay, it's an armband. It's an armband, but when he first showed up, he put it on his head, and I was like, that's clearly not where that's supposed to go, but it was hilarious. It was just like, it was glorious. It was absolutely glorious. Yeah, he was great tonight. It's so funny because like going into tonight, we were both like, man, we're just gonna shit on WWE because we were both feeling pretty broken, I would say. And I had like a whole thing where I was gonna be broken Swift because Sasha lost the title and then Raw was terrible and the evil Scion and his agents at American Airlines totally broke me this weekend. But man,
oh yeah, you had a rough ass weekend.
I had a rough. No, I missed SummerSlam, folks. I watched it in Chicago in my friend's place because American Airlines gutted me. It was a rough Sunday for me, but yeah. But I can't even be upset because SmackDown was so lit. Also because I got to see a certain Hug Lord show up in Barclays last night.
Again. You're so lucky. You got to see her make her cameo, and then you got to see her make her actual main roster. You're a lucky son of a bitch.
I'm a lucky son of a bitch. I saw her win the title. I didn't see her last NXT match though. I was given a wedding toast literally during that match. That's a shoot, folks. I was giving a wedding toast that I ended with "Let's turn it up" as Bayley was wrestling her last NXT match. But yeah, so I was going to be broken and upset. Oh man, Can't even do it.
Okay,
what was that?
You know what? I'm going to give SmackDown what I would have rated it.
Oh yeah.
I'm overly. Everybody knows. I think it was a little shock when you took over because I'm overly positive because I've always loved SmackDown. So when you took over, they were like, "What? Wait a minute, hold on,
fuck? What the shit? Yeah, who is this asshole?"
But I honestly would give it a 9.5 out of 10. There's nothing I could really fucking complain about or diss or It was especially a follow-up show to SummerSlam. I thought it was mwah.
Yeah,
it hit everything they tried to do worked. I loved it. Yeah. So you want to discuss NXT Takeover just a little bit? Just a little bit.
You know what? I actually haven't even.
You haven't watched the show?
I got a visitor right here. I got a guest host right here.
Yeah,
Little kitty. Yeah. I haven't even watched. I'm going to be up all night writing first the review and then part 9 of my Bayley series, which I still haven't even watched Bayley Asuka yet.
But you haven't watched anything?
I haven't watched. I watched Bobby Roode's entrance. That's the only thing I've seen from
Glorious. That was the only. You know what?
That was the only good thing.
That was the only thing worth watching of Bobby Roode. I thought he was a little bit better than that.
Yeah, apparently.
But I almost showed him up in that and poor guy, he cannot catch a break with his takeover opponents being more over than him.
Mm-hmm.
But that damn entrance though, it's between Bobby Roode and Eva Marie for the best fucking entrances in wrestling right now.
Yeah, Bobby. Yeah, that's true right there. Bobby Roode versus Eva Marie. That's our tournament finals for best wrestling entrances.
Yeah, it was. Well, I don't think SmackDown and Raw were bad per se. I thought they were just average. But when you're doing this brand split, you're trying to make a statement, and I understand because we could talk about this coming up in the home stretch. I understand that they had plans with Finn. Is it Balor or Balor? I don't want to piss
Balor.
Okay, Finn Balor. Whatever. I know they had plans with him and got himself injured because he doesn't know how to take a buckle bomb. Like, that's the stupidest shit I've ever fucking heard. I'm sorry. Look, somebody is throwing you. You're going to blame the person being thrown. Oh, no, he should have did this. He should have did that. Like, he's not the one in control of the fucking move. Seth Rollins is. Shit. Seriously. Like, what kind of mental... Well, if you look at it in slow, I don't have to look at it in slow motion. If I hear somebody threw something into something and some got fucked up on them, it's the fault of the person who threw the body. Like, okay, fuck, Finn Balor might have panicked and had a natural fucking reaction to being thrown instead of being a robot because he's a professional wrestler. We have to remember that we see these people take a lot of fucking punishment. They are flesh and bone and blood just like us. Me, if you had took that fucking buckle bomb, you'd be paralyzed. You wouldn't have popped your fucking shoulder back into place and kept wrestling. You would have been paralyzed. They would have threw up the X. So don't talk about what the fuck Finn Balor should have did. He wasn't the one in control. Shit right there, that really pissed me off. Blaming the person who got injured, that's bullshit. Trying to fucking entertain you, and you're blaming him. And it's Seth Rollins, that's Sting was old. John Cena was an accident. Finn Balor's an accident. Lord, help me. If Seth Rollins fucks up somebody else doing a move, it's gonna be their fault too. Right? Where was this when Ryback was fucking up CM Punk? Where was this when Jack Swagger was punting people in the head for real? Where was all of this benefit of, I forgot. Seth Rollins can wrestle better than those guys, so it's okay. We can excuse that. No. Wrestlers' health and safety, that's number one for me. And if there is a pattern, I'm not saying he's evil, he should never wrestle again, but maybe look at what you're doing. Maybe reevaluate your moveset. Perhaps, maybe. There's a lot of power wrestlers. There's a certain power wrestler I love. And people are like, oh, he has a limited moveset. Maybe because he's a safe fucking worker and most of his big moves hurt himself more than his opponents. Maybe he's looking out for the boys. Maybe he wants people to go, Finn Balor was a champion for pretty much less than 24 hours, right?
Yeah.
That's his fault. Fuck, he blew it. Fucking blew it. Ain't that a bitch? Who the fuck thinks that a buckle bomb on a fucking barricade is a good idea? Yo, let's do that. Yo. That's something we should do. Yo, let's just throw people back first into the fucking divider between the ring and the crowd. That makes a lot of fucking sense. It does.
Yeah, and this is what happens when you don't have characters that the crowd is actually invested in or stories that the crowd is deeply following in. You have shit like buckle bombs on the barricades that 99 out of 100 times would go fine, but that one time where you throw the guy from a little bit too far away and he has to try to brace himself for the impact, that's when you separate a shoulder. Or if you're trying to do some crazy ass backbreaker off the top rope, maybe just don't drop the wrestler that you're competing with on her fucking head.
Right.
And then maybe don't blame that wrestler for being sloppy and having botches in her match when her opponent nearly breaks her fucking neck. So the whole thing, I really hated that they immediately turned it into an angle. Like, oh, look, I hurt people because they're weak, blah, blah, blah. I hurt Sami Zayn's ankle now. And of course Vince did it because, of course he's fucking Vince, and it's like, ooh, look at this controversy. It's fucking, ugh. That's not how you get real. That's not how you get real heel
for
heat
someone
like that, man.
like me who cried for I don't know how long after Chris Benoit made Triple H tap out in the main event of WrestleMania 20 and then almost gave up because of what happened to him. I like, fuck that. No, it's fake. I'm watching it because it's fake, okay? Sorry, I am. They're supposed to protect each other. There was an old school wrestler, like, back in the day, they used to, like, work so that people won't get hurt. And old school wrestler, I forget who it was. He was like, but nowadays, these kids, they, like, take pride that they're out there fucking hurting each other and hitting each other for real. It's like supposed to be. It's supposed to be a fucking work. Somebody said, Zeb Culture, he was like, I miss the days when the marks were in the audience instead of in the locker room. And, like, I know a lot of people got mad at him, but maybe he's got a point. He's been around for a long fucking time. He's seen the absolute highs and the absolute lows of this business. So when he says some shit, I'm going to perk up and fucking listen to him and not just criticize him because I happen to like a lot of those people he's talking about. He may know what the fuck he's talking about. And it may not be what you think it is. He might be looking out for them. Nobody should be a mark. If they're in the business, and I'm a big Kevin Nash fan, big believer in his philosophies, a lot of them. Not all of them, a lot of them. But one thing you cannot be, like, it's annoying to be a mark for yourself, but that might work. It might get you far. Don't be a fucking mark for this business. Especially if you work for Vince McMahon, because he does not give a fuck about you. Okay? He said it. You don't care about them wrestlers, really. When you stand in the ring in front of the guy you're trying to push us the face and say to him, I worked your father like shit and took most of the money. Now, oh, yeah, let's kayfabe. But, like, really, Roman Reigns didn't grow up fucking rich. Like, in the back of his head, he might be thinking, hey, what the fuck? You're only one generation removed from having a bone through your nose. I don't give a fuck what these fans think. He says it all the time. Sometimes there's truth. And people may say jokes, but like Eminem says, a lot of truth is said in jest. And like, if you think the SmackDown is doing good work, but it seems like at SummerSlam, SmackDown didn't matter and Raw didn't really matter at the end of the show. All they wanted you to talk about was the man who was not going to fucking be there and probably won't be back again until Royal Rumble. Oh, and did you hear what Shane said? This thing between me and Brock isn't over. They're fucking facing each other.
Oh, for sure.
They're facing each other. And, I'm not, like, I don't really care because I don't want to fucking see Shane and I don't want to fucking see Brock, and I'm probably going to turn that shit off or go do something else while it's on. But it's probably going to be the main event, so I can go unless they make the Rumble match the main event, probably going to be the main event, turn that shit off. But, like, boy, oh, what the fuck does that say to everybody that's busting their ass and working hard and fucking popping Adderall to keep up with their schedule? What does that say to them that it's Brock and Shane? Two fucking people who don't do all these things. Either the regular guys are working and busting their ass and keeping the lights on, so Christmas, as Paul Heyman called Brock Lesnar once, that really got under my fucking skin too. So Christmas could come and brighten up our day. Oh, it's so fucking special. Give me a goddamn, I would rather see Heath Slater. It's bad when you rather see a jobber than the guy who, he is a draw. He is a main event draw. He is, damn it. If they tell you enough. it'll be true.
That's WWE's thing. Just say shit a bunch of times and hope it comes true. You know, women's divas revolution, women's evolution. You just say it a bunch enough and maybe people will believe it, even though what you're showing us is that that's complete and total branding bullshit. And none of us, guess what, Vince? Guess what, folks? It's 2016. It's not 1985. We fucking know everything about this shit, all right? We don't see, we're not backstage, we're not in production meetings, but we're not fucking idiots. We can see what you're trying to do. And by the way, it's not fucking working because look at your fucking ratings. The real...
Like, you can whine if you can piss and moan, but I'm sorry, you're just going to have to work harder to work us. I want to be worked. When people are like, you're a mark. Yes, I am. I'm a fucking mark. Why do you think I'm watching this? I want to get worked.
Yeah, exactly.
Bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. We want, the whole point of being wrestling fans is to become invested in something we know is not real. It's the same thing of being a fan of any sort of fictional medium. Like, why is somebody into comic books? Why is somebody into video games? You know, why is somebody into movies or some TV show? Because they want to be entertained by it and they want to be drawn into it. They don't want to be shit on by the person who's running the thing, you know, who thinks that we're all fucking dumbasses and he's going to take your money anyway. Well, you know what, Vince? Until you start fucking turning your shit around by not being so involved, I'm not gonna watch Raw anymore. My two favorite wrestlers, wrestlers are on Raw. Bayley and Sasha Banks are both on Raw. I don't care. That's 3 hours. Do you know how much I could do with 3 hours every week? Literally anything would be better than watching a single second of Monday Night Raw. That's what you got YouTube for. That's why your YouTube views are doing so well, because no one's actually watching your fucking show because it's fucking sick hellhole, sinkhole of time, and it's painful, versus the pure, great pro wrestling, unadulterated pro wrestling wonderfulness, gloriousness that we got tonight out of SmackDown Live and Talking Smack, programs that you are not involved in any way, Vince. The same we'll get tomorrow on NXT and the Cruiserweight Classic, programs that you are not involved in. You and people like your fucking Brock Lesnar's have nothing to do with. And those are good wrestling programs. And it's because you guys aren't involved.
But don't think our negativity takes away from how good the show was tonight. I enjoyed it. Keep it up.
Tonight?
And it's like
tonight?
And I'm not burying any wrestler on Raw. I don't think they're trying any less hard than the wrestlers on SmackDown. They're just giving a whole bunch of shit. And like they're doing their best, but they're just being pigeonholed by it could be so much better.
It could be so much better because, and we know that because we literally just watched 2.5 hours, the best 2.5 hours of wrestling in this calendar year tonight. We just watched it.
Pretty much, yeah.
We just watched it tonight. And last night was awful. And I was in Barclays, and I hated it. I was literally on Twitter for more of the show than I was paying attention to Raw. Because it was the minute they announced that they vacated the title, and then they were like, oh, but we're having a new champion next week. 50% of Barclays mentally checked out of the entire show. Because it's like, oh.
It's either going to be Roman Reigns or Seth Rollins. And if they shock me, because it's not gonna be big cast. No. If they shock me and make Kevin Owens, I will take some of the shit back that I said, but they're not.
They're not gonna do it. There's no way.
But every time in every arena, even if the crowd is fucking dead as fuck, every time you hear dun 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 dun, what do you hear? As soon as you hear, yay! Every fucking time. It never fails. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Big ass pop.
Yeah,
take a chance. I don't even like this belt, but fuck. Like, Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns can't even really keep them fucking selves over. How the fuck are they gonna get that ugly ass belt over? And Kevin Owens, I know he's not drawing as well as he should be, but he's fucking over, at least in arenas. And I believe if he at least has that belt, more than if Seth Rollins or Roman Reigns got it. And like Seth Rollins has had 15 fucking title shots in like 3 months. God damn. And he was a champion for like 5 minutes. Maybe. Like that's the problem with those two, Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns. You wanted to make them all important. But you half-ass booked the both. First of all, they're playing to the absolute wrong alignments. But then you half-ass booked them every fucking step of the way. Ugh. I hope for the best. I really do. I do not tune into any WWE show like, well, this is going to be shit.
Right.
I don't. It gets better. And one more thing. I've noticed a trend of certain people. They come into the threads on CSS and they never comment on what they like or what they don't like. All they do is wait for commenters like you and I and a lot of other people to state their likes and dislikes. And then they fucking come at us and attack us for our fucking opinions. Stop that shit. I mean it. We need to fucking stick together. Stop that shit. You can have a debate without insulting people's opinions or who they are. Stop it. You got anything to add before we mosey on out of here?
Nope, nothing at all.
All right, it's been a great show. SmackDown was great. I hope that Raw can get at least a little bit better. I'm not going to watch it until I hear that it has. I love Bayley to death. I'll YouTube her. I'll YouTube Roman, maybe. I'm not YouTubing them next week unless I hear that Rusev interfered, because I wanted, like, it's two assholes. I don't mind that it's two assholes, but just don't tell me Roman Reigns is a face and have them beating the fuck out of each other. I'm cool with that. Let that happen. Let that play out. But, like, if you put the bet on Roman Reigns, I hope viewers go down to 1 million viewers. I do. I hope they lose a little steady 2 million they've been. I hope they keep going down. Because it's like, we're going on the 3rd year of this bullshit. Enough is enough. And it's time for a change.